I never expected my own family to betray me. But when my sister's husbands broke into my vacation home, they didn't just destroy property, they shattered any hope of reconciliation. My name is James, and I have two older sisters, Lisa and Brenda. They're 8 and 10 years older than me, respectively, and for as long as I can remember, we've never really gotten along. We weren't enemies exactly, but we were like oil and water, never mixing well. While I built a career and traveled with my wife, they settled down, had kids, and embraced the suburban lifestyle. They were stay-at-home moms married to men who made decent money. Meanwhile, my wife and I chose a different path. No kids, stable jobs, and financial freedom. And that, apparently, was enough to make them resent me. The real trouble started when I bought a vacation home for my parents. It was in the mountains, exactly what they had always dreamed of. They couldn't afford it, but I could, so I made it happen. The catch? My sisters assumed my parents owned it, and for years they treated it like it was theirs too. Weekend getaways, trips with friends, even letting their kids run wild without supervision. I tolerated it because my parents managed the house, and I didn't want drama. But one day, everything changed. I found out that Lisa had been renting out the house for extra cash. For years. Thousands of dollars had gone into her pocket, while I had been paying the taxes, utilities, and upkeep. And Brenda? She knew about it, but stayed quiet. That was the last straw. I cut them off from the house immediately, and that's when things spiraled out of control. It all came to a head at a family barbecue my parents hosted. My wife and I weren't eager to go. Every family gathering ended in some petty drama, but my mom insisted. When we arrived, the backyard was full of people, mostly family and a few neighbors. My sisters and their husbands were already drunk. The kids, ages 7 to 11, were running wild, completely unsupervised. My dad, ever the laid-back guy, was chilling in the whirlpool with a cooler of beer. I tried to keep things civil, but my sisters immediately criticized us for being late, not wearing swimsuits, and ruining the vibe. Typical. Then, chaos erupted. A few of my nieces and nephews thought it would be funny to shove people into the pool. First, they pushed a neighbor, drenching her. She didn't make a scene, just dried off and left. But my sisters and their husbands, they laughed hysterically. Then, I noticed 3 of the kids sprinting toward me. I was their next target. I quickly stepped aside, and all 3 ran straight into the deep end of the pool. And that's when the laughter stopped. 2 of them started, flailing, unable to swim. Parents scrambled, pulling them out. The kids were crying hysterically, and my sisters? They turned on me. "How could you let them fall in?" Lisa screamed. "You should have let them push you," Brenda shrieked. I was dumbfounded. They were blaming me for avoiding being pushed into the pool. And then, to make matters worse, the kids' iPhones, which they had used to record their prank, had been in their pockets. Ruined. That's when their husbands got involved. One of them, drunk and stumbling, tried to grab me. He missed, face-planted, and had to be rushed to urgent care for stitches. The screaming continued. I had enough. My wife and I left. But this was far from over. After the barbecue, my parents called, trying to smooth things over. They begged me to forgive my sisters. Then I got a text from my brother-in-law. "You owe us $2,000 for the kids' iPhones? When are you paying?" I blocked them all. That's when my dad made a shocking confession. He told my sisters that I owned the vacation home. Not him, not Mom, me, and my sisters. They lost their minds. They showed up at my house demanding access. They cried, screamed, accused me of being selfish. I shut the door in their faces. Then, a few days later, their husbands broke in. They cut the chains on the property gate, smashed the lock, and forced their way inside. They even broke into the barn. But they didn't know one thing. I had installed security cameras. My property manager caught them red-handed as they were leaving. He called the sheriff. The police arrested them on the spot, and in their drunken panic, they threatened me. "In front of the cops. Tell your wife to watch her back," one of them slurred. That was it. I wasn't just mad anymore. I was done. They spent 2 nights in jail. By the time they were bailed out, they had lost their jobs. One had security clearance, gone, and racked up thousands in legal fees. Lisa and Brenda called me, sobbing, begging me to drop the charges. Even my parents pleaded with me. But I stood my ground. Then the real kicker. I found out Lisa had made over $22,000 renting out the vacation home. I hired a lawyer. He demanded full compensation for the damages. They finally broke. A week later, an envelope arrived at my office. Inside was a $5,000 cashier's check and a signed letter of apology. I read it. It was pathetic. They admitted they were wrong. Acknowledged. They had no right to the house and begged me to drop the remaining charges. After discussing with my lawyer, we drafted an agreement. They would pay all legal fees, never contact me or my wife again, never set foot near the vacation home. Acknowledge that they had no claim to it. They signed, and that was it. It's been months now. Life has been so much better without them in it. The silence, peaceful. No more entitled demands, no more backhanded comments, no more guilt trips. My wife and I can finally enjoy our lives without the constant weight of their drama. My parents still visit, and while I know this has been hard on them, they understand that things will never be the same. I love them, and I'll always be there for them, but I won't sacrifice my peace for my sister's selfishness. Lisa and Brenda, I have no idea what they're up to, and honestly, I don't care. If I ever see them again, it'll be too soon. I used to think family was unbreakable, that no matter what, we'd always find our way back to each other. But I've learned the hard way. Family isn't about blood. It's about respect. And when that respect is gone, so is the relationship. I'm finally free. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you have forgiven them? Or do you think I went too far? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.